All right, this is Max Headspace 9mm with our final lesson on stance. Now this is actually one of the easiest things, but when you start adding your sight alignment, your trigger control, your grip mechanics, and you add all those things together along with all the practice that we've been doing, the stance may be the easiest, but it also is most critical. All of these things have to be done perfectly, and you will get a perfect shot. This gun, now you don't have to have a really long barrel on a gun either. It's been proven that a short barrel is just fine for accuracy. This gun is as accurate as it needs to be. If you do your part, you will get a shot every time in the red at 25 feet. So what is it about shooting that makes some people so mind-blowingly accurate? Well, they don't mess up. Honestly, not screwing up on these little details that we talked about is everything. If you get to the point where you can do all of these things perfectly, you will get a perfect shot every time. This gun, and I'm going to show you a little something about guns that is really critical. Now, yes, this has a very short barrel. I think it's 3.5 inches long. The thing that makes a gun accurate is the fact that when you try to wobble the barrel inside the slide when it's all locked up and ready to shoot, no bullets in it, it doesn't move. This thing is absolutely locked tight. The sights are fused into your slide. Your barrel is locked tight in the slide. So this thing is going to aim and shoot exactly the same every time. If you were to put this in a vise or some kind of a jig and hold it absolutely steady and fire it over and over and over again at a target 25 feet away, it would go through the same hole every single time. So why can't you, as a shooter, do the same thing? Well, it's because we tend to mess up on the details. We tend to mess up on the basics. These are all basic things that I've talked about here, but it's the basics that are the most important. All right, so for his stance today, we're going to talk about how to hold the gun. Now, the pistols don't have that much recoil. The biggest pistols that I have do not push me back physically. It might shock my arms just a little bit, but it's not going to push my whole body backwards. So you want to stand with your feet shoulder width apart. You want to lean slightly forward, and when you aim, your shoulders kind of come up to your jaw. Now, the reason why that's important is because it tends to take away the airspace in the body between the gun all the way up to the eyes. You're locking your upper body into a system that is like a vise holding this gun. It's as close to a vise as you're ever going to get. You've got your grip mechanics worked on. You've got all the other things figured out. The stance is critical to making sure that you don't mess up that shot. So, you have your gun. When you bring it up, aligned with your eyes, guess what happens naturally? Your shoulders come into alignment with your jaw. So I want you to imagine these things fused together. They should touch. See that? Now I'm leaning very slightly forward, not much at all, but my shoulders are touching my jaw, and that allows me to keep my head still. So when I'm lining up these sights with my eyes, I've got something mechanically as solid as I can get from my eyes, through my jaw, through my shoulder, all the way down my arms, to my grip that is tightly holding the gun because we practice that. And all I got to worry about is my gentle trigger finger feeling the mechanics of the trigger and pressing until I trip the sear. Now, by holding the gun in this manner, I can actually take and hold this thing very steady. So one thing that you can do is practice holding steady on your target that you put up on the wall at home. So line the sights up and just hold steady. and then stop. Practice your stance. Bring the gun up and hold steady. And then relax. Bring the gun up, hold steady, and relax. After you've done that for a while, and you get to the point where you're amazed at how still this gun is, it's actually staying right on target every time for a minute. Then add a trigger press. One other thing that's really interesting about a well-experienced target shooter is they have it so wired in how to aim this. They can do it with their eyes closed. So try this. Take the gun, stand in your proper stance, and close your eyes and aim, and then open your eyes, or at least open your eye that you are sighting with. Do this over and over again. And you'll begin to see there's something to this. Your body remembers when you're locked in how to aim. And every time it'll wind up going right where it should. Because you're aiming with your body, not just your eyes. Your body remembers the position of this gun. With practice, you can do that. All right, we've talked about equipment. We've talked about sight alignment, how to use the sights, and how to practice using them effectively. We've talked about trigger mechanics. We've talked about trigger control. We've talked about proper stance and how to hold the gun. And we've talked about grip mechanics. If you've been practicing all these things that we talked about, exactly like I told you, for 2-3 weeks every single day, go to the range and try it out and see if you're not surprised at how much better you are at shooting pistols. This is Max Headspace 9mm. Have a good one.